This is the exterior inspection. What we've been looking at is the exterior, the sidings, how it's waterproofed, and the foundation. It's been hit by hail, this building, and the telltale signs are here. See these breaks here? It's very typical of hail damage. And we have further damage here, all the way around. Now, it's not good to leave that open. That needs to be sealed so that you don't get water penetrating the wall at this point. We have a vinyl siding. Now, along the side of this property here, both sides, we have bushes, and they really need to be cut back. You don't want them touching the actual siding itself. These bushes will actually damage the siding by rubbing against it over the years. So it'd be well worth cutting those back, getting them so they don't come into contact at all with the side of the building. They also pose a means by which vermin can get onto the building, which is what you don't want. So we're at the front left elevation. There's some damage to the skirt here. It's an aluminium skirt. It's easily fixed and replaced, but it's well worth getting it fixed. This is the electrical drop. £200 service and a service disconnect. More hail damage around the lights, and on the actual windows themselves you see the chips and the cracking. That's caused by hail. Moving to the rear elevation, and we have a couple of service vents here. Now this is the dryer vent, as I suspected. This is the wrong type of vent cover. It actually causes lint to get clogged in there, and that can lead to a fire. So signs of prior repair here and here to the siding. Looks as if we have a replacement window that's been installed here, but the trim work around the window has not been painted. It's deteriorating, the wood's deteriorating, and the screws are rusting. Now this is a raised deck. The deck has a number of problems with it. This gap here is wider than 4 inches. It shouldn't be wider than my fist. My fist is just about 4 inches across. I don't pack much of a punch. Anyway, it's too wide. The issue comes if you've got children, they can put their heads between it. That's the real issue. However, it's pretty solid. It's not moving, and that's a good thing. Yeah, it says. Now, it's sitting on wood piers. There'll be a treated wood, but over time they are going to rot. It should actually be sitting on a concrete here. The wood shouldn't actually be in contact with the ground. So we're at the rear right elevation, and there's considerable signs of hail damage. It's been repaired. You can see that it's been repaired using a silicon compound. Problem with those compounds are they deteriorate over time. Got another prior repair up here at the eaves. I would say that the siding at the rear right elevation should be replaced. This is only going to deteriorate over the years, and replacing the siding would remove the issue of water penetration into the walls. Also, the window trims have all been damaged by hail in a number of areas, and most of the screens around the house are damaged by hail. We have the incorrect use of an extension cord here. You see it's running from the outlet at the right hand rear elevation. It runs down and along here, comes up here, and here it is ready to be plugged in. You see it's also been chewed by a dog. Lucky the animal didn't kill itself. Anyway, you should never permanently install extension cords in that way, for the very reason we see here. It's open to weather, it's open to damage, and it becomes a hazard to people and animals. We're at the left elevation where we started, and again we can see all the hail damage. Pretty well all of the siding at the left hand elevation needs to be replaced. Foundation is a block foundation. See it here, it's got hurricane ties holding the foundation in place. That stops it moving if the wind should affect it, start it to move. This pier is not in contact with the at all with the structure. There's a vent penetration. As you can see, it's very short. It should be about another 4 inches taller than that. But worse still, it's got a incorrect seal on it. It should have a proper flashing. What we've got here is just a pile of silicon gunk. This flashing up here around the furnace, that shows signs of damage, and you can see there it's been sealed. So I fully expect either of these two here to leak at some point. We're at the rear elevation. See here we've got a flue chimney, and you see it's had some repair on the flashing, and we have another one up here has had some repair on the flashing. So I think these two penetrations have a history of leaking. We're at the rear right elevation. You can see again we've got two penetrations, very poor flashing, incorrect caulking. Silicon caulking isn't the solution here. Should be a proper boot flashing on both of them. The AC unit, you see the condensing coils here, you see them here? Well, they're wet and everything. It's where they're cooling, taking water out of the atmosphere. But the main thing that concerns me is the condition of the coils. They're very, very dirty, both sides. It's going to really reduce its inefficiency. It's not working very well. We're getting a 10-degree drop, which is really insufficient. It won't cool enough in summer. It'll be very, very warm in this house. So I recommend that this is thoroughly serviced and brought back to good working condition. In the closet, it's looking at the ceiling here, and it's got mould. There's a major water leak up here. It's not wet at the moment, but we just haven't had a lot of rain recently. I guarantee that it's raining. But what concerns me is we've got mould here. There's a lot. If we've got mould this side, there's almost certainly a lot of mould the other side. You've really got to have this whole property checked for mould. You don't want to be living in a property with mould spores running around. Also the ducting, I've looked in the ducting. The ducting's in very dirty condition, and of course that's going to circulate all sorts of stuff around the air you're going to breathe. The water meter is located at the front elevation of the property. You can see the house there, and here's the water meter itself. This is also the isolation valve, the only one I can find for the property as well. This is the exterior hose bib, and there is no water present at this hose bib, none whatsoever. Food disposal doesn't work. The the drain line to the dishwasher is incorrect. It hasn't got an anti-siphon device on it. The sewer line vent is actually mounted inside the cupboard rather than the exterior. got a one-way valve. Just seeing if this is plugged in. Oh dear, no, that's not good. There's some poor wiring in here. You can see it there. The dishwasher's not working. That's hot water. Cold water present at the kitchen sink. Utility sink. Water present. Yeah, shower head is broken. Hot water. We've got some full corking all the way around the hot faucet. Faucet for the vanity. It's not working correctly. So there's not a long supply of hot water. There's no drains on these sinks. There's water there. there's considerable evidence of mice infestation into the home. There's droppings in pretty well every one of the cupboards, closets. There was also, and I wasn't quite sure, exactly the same condition in the ducting. You've got to have the ducting cleaned because you could be breathing in the the virus. I'll put notes in the report for you. The water heater is installed behind this panel here. You can see it in here. It doesn't have a safety pan. It's electrical. I cannot get at the temperature pressure relief valve to test it. There's no real signs of rust or anything around it, but it's actually installed in the chase for the air conditioning return. It's totally incorrect, and there's corrosion. Is that corrosion? Yeah, there's corrosion on the pipes. I would say this water heater probably needs to be changed out, but we'll find out fairly soon. The grading around the building is incorrect, and over time it's going to cause issues with the foundation. The foundation is manufactured home foundation, so it's stone blocks, and they're underneath the building, and all the water is going to flow in this direction and towards that end, the right elevation. And as it flows, if it flows in large quantities, and the siding there, the skirt, that's not going to keep the water back. It's simply going to go under it. And as it flows, it could erode the piers. There is some erosion under there already, but it could get worse, especially if we have a prolonged period of intense rainfall. So that is an issue with the property.